Welcome to Game Now. Today, we're diving into 15 AA games that prove you don't need blockbuster budgets to create something unforgettable. These gems deliver incredible gameplay and stories with a heart and soul that many AAA titles just can't match. Let's jump right in. Our first game is Control, a game that feels like stepping into the pages of a surreal science fiction novel. Imagine wielding telekinetic powers while exploring a brutalist maze that changes every time you turn a corner. That's Control in a nutshell. One player said it's like being dropped into the X-Files meets Inception, and I totally get why. The ashtray maze, in particular, is a masterpiece of level design that feels like a visual symphony. Throwing desks at enemies never gets old, though the cryptic story might leave you scratching your head in the best way possible. It Takes Two is pure magic, plain and simple. This co-op-only adventure constantly surprises you, throwing new mechanics at you every 5 minutes. Whether you're bouncing on jelly or piloting a pair of underpants, the creativity here is off the charts. What caught me off guard was the emotional depth. This isn't just a game. It's a heartfelt story about a struggling couple rediscovering their connection. Someone once called it a relationship simulator disguised as a game, and honestly, they're not wrong. If you've got a co-op partner, this is an absolute must-play. If you're a fan of deep, narrative-driven games, Disco Elysium will blow your mind. You're not just solving a murder, you're unraveling your own psyche in the process. Every decision matters, and the sheer freedom is staggering. I remember hearing someone say that it's less of a game and more of a living novel, and that's spot on. The dialogue is razor sharp, often hilarious, and sometimes painfully real. Sure, there's no combat, but the intensity comes from the choices you make and the consequences they bring. It's a game that makes you think, laugh, and reflect, all at once. Outer Wilds is a game all about exploration and discovery in a solar system stuck in a 22-minute time loop. I've heard it described as the ultimate sandbox for curious minds, and I couldn't agree more. Flying into a black hole by accident? Yep, that happened. But every failure feels like a step forward as you uncover the game's secrets. The combination of mystery, tension, and wonder is unlike anything else. Just be ready to think outside the box. This game doesn't hold your hand. Hades, the roguelike that makes dying part of the fun. You play as Zagreus, the rebellious son of Hades, trying to escape the underworld. The combat is silky smooth, with weapons and upgrades that completely change how you approach each run. What really sets it apart, though, is the storytelling. Every character, from the sarcastic Hypnos to the fierce Megara, has something fresh to say every time you die. Someone online called it a game that makes failure feel rewarding, and honestly, that sums it up perfectly. Kena. Bridge of Spirits is a gorgeous action-adventure game that feels like playing a Pixar movie. From the moment I stepped into its vibrant, enchanting world, I was hooked. The rock creatures, those adorable little companions, bring so much personality to the game, while also adding a strategic layer to the combat. But don't be fooled by the cute visuals. This game packs some seriously challenging boss fights. A friend once said it's a sweet and sour mix of charm and difficulty, and I think that nails it. Metro Exodus takes the series' signature tension and expands it into a semi-open world. Travelling across post-apocalyptic Russia by train, you'll explore desolate landscapes, scavenge supplies, and fend off mutants. What I love most is the balance between quiet moments, sitting by a campfire with companions, and the heart-pounding action. It's not as flashy as some AAA titles, but its atmosphere and storytelling are second to none. Think Dark Souls, but with guns, and a whole lot of co-op fun. Remnant, from the ashes, constantly challenges you with its tough enemies and randomized levels. I've heard players say, no two runs are the same, and they're right. Tackling bosses with friends, figuring out strategies, and celebrating when you finally win, those moments are pure joy. The game might not win any awards for visuals, but it nails the gameplay. Chernobylite is equal parts survival horror and emotional narrative. Set in the eerie Chernobyl exclusion zone, the game feels grounded in reality while weaving in supernatural elements. You're scavenging for resources, making moral decisions, and building your base, all while searching for your missing fiancé. It's haunting, and every choice feels like it carries real weight. I've heard players compare it to Stalker, but with a stronger personal touch, and that sounds spot on. If you love martial arts, Sifu is a dream come true. The combat is tough, but incredibly rewarding, with every move feeling deliberate and impactful. The game's unique aging mechanic, where failure makes your character older but more powerful, adds a fascinating layer of strategy. It's not just about fighting, it's about learning. I read somewhere that it's a game that respects your time by challenging your skills, and honestly, that's the perfect way to describe it. Bright Memory, Infinite is a fast-paced shooter that combines gunplay with melee combat, creating an adrenaline-packed experience. It's incredible to think this game was developed by one person. I've seen it described as short but sweet, and that's spot on. The visuals are stunning, though the story feels rushed. Still, the gameplay is so satisfying that it's hard to put down. Lost in Random is a quirky action-adventure game that uses a unique dice-based combat system. I've heard it likened to a Tim Burton movie, with its dark fairy tale world and whimsical characters. The combat mechanics are fresh, though they take some getting used to. What stands out is the storytelling. Every encounter feels like a chapter in a surreal book. Jagged Alliance 3 is a tactical RPG that puts you in charge of a squad of mercenaries, each with unique skills and personalities. I came across a forum post where someone described it as XCOM with personality, and I think that's accurate. The turn-based combat is challenging, requiring careful planning and resource management. Some mechanics feel dated, but fans of strategy games will love it. Atomic Heart delivers a bizarre, visually striking FPS experience with a mix of traditional shooting and elemental powers. The gameplay is inventive, particularly the crafting system that lets you create wild weaponry. One standout moment was facing off against a robotic ballerina. It was both eerie and captivating. The pacing can feel uneven, but the creativity keeps you engaged. Shadow. Warrior 3 is all about fast-paced action and over-the-top humour. The grappling hook adds a fun layer of mobility, letting you chain together insane combos. I saw a reviewer call it mindless fun done right, and that's the perfect way to describe it. While the story feels secondary, the gameplay delivers enough chaos to keep you entertained. These AA titles prove that creativity and passion can rival even the biggest AAA productions. Have you played any of these? Let me know your favourites in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more gaming content right here on Game Now.